Boots punch a verdict out of the marble before anyone can decide what they believe. Boots striking stone. Sun pours through the tall windows of the hearing room like a blade. Dust hangs in it, turning the air into a field of light. Flags stand behind the dais, silent but stern. Flags snapping faintly in an unseen draft. The smell is polished wood, hot dust, and, threaded through it, faint gun oil carried on a uniform that does not belong to politics. He crosses the seal in the floor as if it were the black mat. The rifle gleams, a thin river of sun running down the barrel to the bayonet, which throws fire into the eyes of the men who came here to count dollars. Murmurs rising. Staff Sergeant Daniel Cross is 6'2" of disciplined silence, pressed wool cut sharp across the shoulders, brass winking like small suns. He does not look left or right. He brings Arlington into the room without asking. A boy stands clutching a program near the back, small hand white-knuckled around folded paper. Jacob Miller is 10, 4'7", wearing a too-big dress shirt and a pin with his grandfather's unit crest. He leans toward the young woman beside him. Emma Reyes, an intern with a badge clipped to her blazer, and ideals still bright. "Is he the tomb guard?" Jacob whispers. Emma nods, throat working. "Yes, and he's still on duty." The gavel cracks. Gavel pounding, Congressman Victor Hale, 6 feet of posture, 50 years of ambition, leans into his microphone with a smile he didn't earn. "Order." He glances up at the sentinel standing at the well of the chamber and lets the smile sharpen. "Sergeant Cross, we appreciate your passion, but today is about facts. The ritual of 21 steps is a charming, if expensive, piece of pageantry." The veteran in the first row doesn't blink. Colonel Arthur Briggs, 82, back bowed but eyes like flint, rests both hands on a cane and breathes through his nose. He knows the smell of rooms like this. He knows the cost of what they're discussing. Cross halts with a sound that closes arguments. Boots stop echoing. He does not speak. He cannot. Silence is the uniform he wears inside the one you can see, and it fits him tighter than wool. The rifle shifts with a snap that cuts the murmur in half. Rifle snapping. Sun burns across the bayonet again, a white scar in the air. Hale shuffles a stack of budget sheets like a man manning a shield. Rough paper whispers against his rings. Pages rasping. "We live in an era of tough choices, Sergeant. 21 steps, 21 seconds, rifle at shoulder, rifle at shoulder. Precision is admirable. But does it do anything?" He spreads his palms. "You march in the rain for ghosts." Jacob flinches. Emma's hand finds his shoulder, fingers shaking. "Listen," she whispers. "Don't talk." He nods and stares, eyes bright, learning how quiet can feel like thunder. Cross pivots a fraction, shadow crawling up the paneled wall, until it brushes the brass eagle above the dais. The room smells suddenly sharper, as if the faint oil from the rifle has crowded out the politics. Air conditioning hissing softly. Somewhere in the sunlight dust, a memory lifts, mist over white headstones, morning wind combing the hill, flags talking in hard syllables, the cool bite of Virginia air that tastes like respect. Hale hears the silence and mistakes it for space to fill. "This committee is considering a bill," he says, "to streamline ceremonial expenditures, to modernize. The tomb will still be honored, but a motion-activated recording and smart lighting can replace men on a mat." He smiles toward the cameras. "Technology is reliable. It does not get tired. It does not," he waves a hand at Cross's boots, "require shine." The veteran's cane taps once, clear as a bell struck with a bone. Cane tick. "My dead are not a playlist," Briggs says without asking permission. His voice is gravel that remembers rain on ponchos and letters that never came home. Murmurs ripple. The gavel cracks again. Gavel crack. "Colonel Briggs," Hale says, weariness painted on. "Please, we'll hear your remarks in due time." "Now is due time," Briggs growls. "You're measuring a vow in dollars." The air tightens. Cross does not move. The room begins to bend around his stillness, the way Arlington bends around a sentinel's pace, the way a crowd forgets itself when a man refuses to. Emma's eyes shine. She lowers her voice to Jacob's ear. See how he keeps the tomb with him, even here? Jacob nods, chest rising, lips pressed together like he's holding a salute inside his mouth. Hale leans back, performs a sigh. Let's be adults, he says. Honor does not equal repetition. The nation's respect isn't a metronome. He gestures toward the window where sunlight tallies itself on the floor. Tradition should serve the living, not shackle them. Cross breathes once. The leather of his sling whispers. Leather creak. His boots set a posture that tells marble how to behave. Behind his stillness, another room flickers. A black mat with a thin sheen of rain. A rifle that smells faintly of oil and cloth. 21 seconds counted by a heartbeat he taught to obey. Briggs pushes up an inch in his seat, enough to remind the room what upright used to mean. You ever stood where names are gone? He asked Hale. You ever kept watch until your legs went numb because not moving was a promise? A bead of sweat unsettles itself at Hale's temple. He smiles again, wider now, sharper. Colonel, Sergeant, this isn't personal, it's policy. People don't need boots to feel reverence. They need efficiency. He tilts his chin at Cross. What are you protesting here? That we adjust a pageant? Cross's head does not turn, but the light decides to choose him. The bayonet catches it, and for a heartbeat it looks like lightning chose a favorite. Jacob breathes in, small and loud, and the microphone nearest him catches it. The room hears a child believe in something. Hale leans toward the sentinel, as if to test whether stone breathes. You waste steps for nothing, he says, half smile, half sneer. 21 paces to impress tourists and frighten pigeons? The sentence lands like litter on a grave. Briggs' knuckles go white. Emma's hand tightens on Jacob's shoulder until he feels the tremor all the way to his ribs. Cameras blink red. Camera shutters ticking. Somewhere high in the chamber, the American flag moves in a breath no one else feels. Cross lowers the rifle a half inch. The smallest fracture of ritual, not surrender. Aim. Steel settling. The floor seems to lean toward him, and the room learns what a held storm feels like. The gavel hangs, undecided in the judge's hand. Gavel hovering silence. Hale's smile waits for applause it will not get. Sun strings a blade along the bayonet as if urging it to speak. Then Hale gives them the shock he doesn't know is a confession. He says it slower, into the microphone, so the words will travel. Soldier, he says, savoring the word, you waste steps for nothing. The sentence rattles across the chamber, like a dropped stone on a cathedral floor. You waste steps for nothing. The crowd exhales in one broken gasp, collective gasp. Veterans stiffen in their chairs. Phones lift higher, trembling hands trying to catch history as it unfolds. Emma presses her lips together, eyes flashing, while young Jacob grips the folded program in both hands, crushing the paper into a wrinkled knot. Sergeant Daniel Cross does not flinch. His boots are planted into the marble as though welded there. The rifle across his chest gleams under the ceiling lights, bayonet glowing white like a shard of winter. He breathes once, gloves creaking faintly against polished steel. Glove leather creak. Congressman Victor Hale leans back, smirking as if he's scored a point in debate. His voice oozes satisfaction. See? Silence. That's all it is. 21 steps of theater, 21 seconds of dead air. Ghosts don't care, Sergeant. Why should taxpayers? He spreads his hands, paper rustling like a snake shedding skin. Paper rustling Colonel Arthur Briggs, sitting stiff in the front row, slams his cane against the marble, cane cracking stone. The sound ricochets around the chamber, sharp and defiant. His voice follows, gravel caught on fire. You arrogant fool. You've never stood a night where silence was all you had left. That man carries a vow, not a routine. The gavel cracks for order, gavel pounding. Hale waves it off with a chuckle. Colonel, please. Reverence isn't measured in boots. It's measured in budgets. That's what grown men understand. Jacob's small voice escapes him, trembling but loud enough to pierce. It's not nothing. The chamber stills at the words. Emma grips his shoulder, trying to hush him, but the boy's eyes are fixed on the sentinel. It's forever. Silence answers again. Cross pivots with perfect geometry. Rifle snapping. The rifle slams across his chest, stock tight, bayonet blazing. The sound detonates like thunder under a clear sky. Veterans straighten in their seats instinctively, shoulders pulled by old training. Hale flinches, though he smirks harder to cover it. The chamber waits. Air grows heavier. The faint smell of hot dust from the lights mingles with the sharp, clean scent of Cross's rifle oil, an invisible line dividing discipline from arrogance. Hale pushes back from his chair, leaning on the dais. His voice cuts sharp. "Sergeant, you don't frighten me with props. You want to protest? Say something. Otherwise, you're a statue in boots." The guard moves with the patience of tectonic plates. He slams the rifle butt into marble. Rifle butt booming. The chamber shakes with the sound, rolling through the high ceiling, rattling flags on their poles. Flags snapping violently. The echo floods the air vents, coming back heavier, deeper, as if the building itself spoke. Gasps erupt. Crowd gasping, one man drops his phone, it clatters across the tiles. A woman cries out, stifled by awe. The boy Jacob clutches Emma's arm, whispering fiercely, "That's not a statue." Briggs rises halfway from his seat, body trembling but arm steady as he salutes. His voice booms like a sermon. "That sound is every grave answering you, Congressman, and you don't have the ears to hear it." For a heartbeat, Hale's smirk falters. Sweat beads at his temple. But pride drags him upright, jaw tight. He sneers, voice rising over the silence. "You think slamming a rifle makes policy? You think a metronome scares me? This is a house of law, not a parade ground." The crowd shifts, murmurs swelling like a storm inside the chamber. Crowd murmuring. Emma whispers to Jacob, "Remember this moment. It's not noise. It's memory." Cross does not break posture. His shadow stretches taller on the wall, bayonet tip aligned perfectly with the eagle crest of the American seal above Hale's chair. Light fuses man and symbol, oath and nation. Legend etches itself here. A lone guard, rifle upright, bayonet aflame with light, shadow rising into the seal of the Republic while a lawmaker tries to shrink him with words. Hale points down, jabbing the air toward Cross. "If you won't speak, Sergeant, you'll be dismissed like any man who refuses an order. This ritual ends with us." The veteran shakes his head, voice hoarse but steady. "Careful, son. He warned you. Next time it won't be silence that answers." The chamber stills, caught between arrogance and thunder. Hale doesn't hear the warning, or pretends he doesn't. The air itself feels like it's holding its breath, and the part ends on that threat, heavy as stone. Silence has roared once, but silence is not finished. Afternoon slips into a darker shade, shadows stretching across the chamber like black banners. The floodlights outside hum alive, faint through tall windows. Floodlights buzzing. The air grows heavy, thick with the weight of what has been said and what hasn't. The silence that follows a slammed rifle butt still hangs, like smoke after cannon fire. Sergeant Daniel Cross stands motionless in full uniform, 6'2" of silence forged into flesh. The rifle gleams against his chest, bayonet catching the fading light, glowing like an ember refusing to die. His shadow remains welded to the wall, stretching into the eagle crest that looms over the chamber. He does not blink, does not breathe heavy. He is disciplined, carved, and alive. Congressman Victor Hale shifts in his seat. Sweat rolls at his temple, caught in the halo of fluorescent light. For a moment his mask slips, but arrogance saves him. He slams papers on the desk, the sound papery and weak compared to thunder on marble. Papers slapping wood. "Enough of this circus," he growls. "If silence is all you have, Sergeant, then it is silence I will end." Gasps ripple. Collective gasp. Emma Reyes, the young intern, covers her mouth, eyes wide. Her heart pounds in her throat, but she cannot look away from the guard. Beside her, Jacob, the 10-year-old, clutches the wrinkled program tighter. His knuckles glow white, his breath ragged. Colonel Briggs rises as far as his frail frame will allow, his cane groaning under the weight of his fury. "Sit down, Hale," he rasps, his voice gravel sharpened by decades of battlefields. You don't stare thunder in the eye and tell it to stop rolling. But Hale doesn't sit. He descends the dais, polished shoes tapping impatiently against stone, shoes tapping marble. His height is 6 feet, but pride makes him feel taller, though pride is thinner than bone. He strides directly to the guard, standing nose to nose with Cross. "You're a toy soldier in shiny boots," he hisses, his voice low but caught by microphones. "Tourist theater. Nothing more." Silence answers, heavier than chains. Jacob can't hold his voice anymore. "He's not a toy." The words cut the chamber, high and trembling. All eyes swing to him. His small chest rises and falls fast, his face blotched with tears and fury. "He's thunder. My granddad said thunder never bows." Emma presses her hand to his shoulder, trying to calm him, but her own tears are brimming. She whispers to him, barely audible, "Don't let them take this from you. Not this." Cross pivots suddenly, rifle snapping against his chest. Rifle snapping sharp. The sound detonates. Hale jolts back half a step, caught off guard, as if lightning had cracked between them. The bayonet flares in the floodlight, painting Hale's face ghost pale. The crowd erupts in murmurs, gasps and prayers whispered through clenched hands. Crowd murmuring. Veterans in the gallery lift hands in trembling salutes, their bodies, obeying instincts older than this hearing. The smell of sweat mixes with faint gun oil, the clean against the profane. Jacob straightens, inspired, pulling free of Emma's grip. His small hand rises to his brow in a clumsy salute, his flag pin glinting under the chamber lights. The salute wavers but holds, trembling with determination. Legend engraves itself in that instant. The boy saluting, eyes wet but proud. The guard towering in full dress, bayonet burning white, shadow soldered into the crest of the Republic. The congressman retreating a step under the storm of silence. Briggs' voice booms like scripture. "There, that boy sees it. Why can't you?" Hale, red-faced and furious, snarls back. "Because this is my chamber, and I say this farce ends." He points at Cross, finger jabbing. "If you won't stop marching, Sergeant, then we'll end the ritual by law." The crowd gasps again, louder, raw, gasps breaking wide. Emma's eyes widen in horror. Jacob lowers his hand, whispering, "They can't, right? They can't end forever." The guard does not move. His silence presses heavier, filling the chamber until every heart knows what breaking that vow would mean. And the part ends on that shocking threat. Congressman Hale vowing to end the 21 steps by law. Arrogance daring to face eternity. Evening presses against the tall windows, the sky a bruise of black and violet. Storm clouds roll in over Washington, their bellies lit by flashes of lightning. Thunder rumbling outside. The chamber is lit now by a harsh mix of fluorescent lights and the glow of storm through glass. The flags behind the dais twitch in the draft, snapping like whips. Flags snapping. Sergeant Daniel Cross does not move. His boots are fixed to the marble, his rifle gleaming like a silver vow. His shadow climbs the chamber wall, still fused with the eagle crest above. His silence is heavier than any gavel. Congressman Victor Hale, sweating but reckless, lets pride pull him forward. He shoves his papers aside, steps down fully from the dais, and strides toward Cross with a sneer. Shoes slapping stone. His voice carries venom. "You think you can embarrass me? You think silence can win over law? This isn't Arlington, soldier. This is Congress. And in here, we decide what stays and what ends." Gasps rise from the crowd. Crowd murmuring, gasps. Veterans grip canes, faces carved with disbelief. Mothers clutch children closer. Emma holds Jacob tight, but the boy shakes his head, whispering, "Don't stop him. He's stronger than the congressman." Colonel Briggs struggles to stand, cane rattling. His voice cracks but carries like a bugle call. "You touch that sentinel, Hale, and you touch every grave behind him." But Hale doesn't listen. He closes the distance, his suit brushing against Cross's pressed uniform. Hale's hand lashes out, gripping at the guard's arm as if to drag him from his post. The room gasps in horror. Crowd gasping. Phones clattering to the floor. Emma covers her mouth. Jacob's small voice pierces the chaos. "Don't touch him!" Cross erupts. The precision of ritual transforms into the force of a storm. His boot pivots, heel striking marble with a crack like cannon fire. Boot slam echoing. The rifle whips sideways with perfect geometry, rifle snapping sharp. In a heartbeat, Hale's arm is seized, twisted, and thrown off balance. His body slams against the desk behind him, papers scattering into the air like frightened birds. Body hitting wood, papers fluttering. Gasps turn into cries, crowd screaming then silenced. Lightning flashes outside the windows, painting the bayonet in a streak of white fire. Thunder rolls through the chamber as if the sky itself saluted the guard. Thunder crashing. Hale stumbles back, face pale, arrogance cracked. He clutches his arm, eyes wide. Pride punctured by silence turned to steel. His voice shakes as he tries to laugh it off. Assault! You'll regret that. But no one believes him. The crowd is with the guard. Emma whispers through tears. It wasn't assault. It was defense. Of all of us. Jacob steps forward, hand pressed to his heart. His eyes are wet but shining. That's what forever looks like. Colonel Briggs salutes high, his frail frame trembling but unbroken. His voice thunders. This isn't a protest, it's a vow. And you tried to break it. The crowd rises to their feet, some saluting, some bowing their heads, some whispering prayers. Hale stands alone, shrinking under the weight of hundreds of eyes in the shadow of one silent guard. Legend sears itself into that instant. Cross towering in the chamber, bayonet gleaming with lightning, rifle locked back to chest, Hale cowering against his desk. The sentinel's silence roars louder than thunder, louder than law, louder than pride. Hale's voice cracks, desperate now. You can't win. I'll end the ritual. I'll end you. But Emma whispers, her words carried by microphones and hearts alike. You can't end eternity. Silence returns, thicker, final, as the storm rages outside. Wind rushing windows. The guard pivots cleanly, returning to his stance. Cadence steady, vow intact. And the part closes on revelation. Hale, humiliated, standing against a storm of silence he cannot break, while Cross remains unshaken. Thunder fused to marble, a vow fused to eternity. Night has claimed Washington. Storm clouds thin, leaving the air wet and sharp, rainwater clinging to stone. The Capitol dome glows gold against the black sky, floodlights blazing across its steps, floodlights humming. A crowd has gathered outside, their murmurs low, reverent, unlike the jeers of earlier. At the top of the steps stands Sergeant Daniel Cross, boots polished black as midnight, rifle gleaming under the dome's glow, bayonet burning like a shard of lightning frozen in steel. His uniform is crisp, seams knife straight, brass catching, light in fiery flashes. He breathes once, then begins. Boots striking marble, steady rhythm, 21 steps, heel to toe, silence in between, heavy as prayer. The crowd falls silent. Some weep quietly, some salute. Others bow their heads. The only sound is boots against stone and the faint hiss of rain rolling off the steps. Rain dripping, steady. Colonel Arthur Briggs, frail in his chair, lifts his hand in salute once more. His voice is hoarse but proud. He brought Arlington here. He carried the tomb into their chamber. Tears streak down his cheeks, but his eyes blaze with pride. Jacob Miller stands beside Emma, small chest puffed, one hand clutched over the flag pin on his shirt. His other rises in a salute, clumsy but true. Emma's tears slide freely now, but she does not look away. That's forever, she whispers. Congressman Hale lingers at the edge of the crowd, suit damp with rain, face pale under the floodlights. His arrogance is gone, washed away by the weight of what he unleashed. He watches, but no one looks at him. He is invisible now, drowned out by silence stronger than law. Cross pivots, rifle snapping crisp. His shadow stretches across the Capitol steps, climbing high, fusing with the dome above. His silence becomes something more than protest. It is command. It is vow. It is the sound of eternity made visible. Legend crystallizes in that moment. The sentinel pacing beneath the Capitol dome, rifle gleaming, bayonet burning white, shadows stretching across the steps into the night. Around him a sea of citizens stands in reverent silence. A boy salutes with tears streaming down his cheeks. A veteran lifts a trembling hand. And above them all, the dome shines, lit like a beacon of promise. The crowd feels it, the weight of sacrifice, the permanence of ritual, the truth that cannot be cut from budgets. A woman whispers through tears, "They can't cancel that. They can't cancel forever." Others nod, heads bowed, the hush deepening. Cross halts, boot slam echoing against stone. He faces forward, rifle at chest, bayonet blazing. The floodlights flare off steel. The silence is complete, the kind that presses into the skin and stays there long after the night ends. Colonel Briggs speaks once more, his voice cracking but certain. That vow doesn't belong to Congress. It belongs to the dead and to the ones who keep watch for them. Jacob lowers his salute only long enough to whisper, "Granddad, I saw him keep the promise." Emma wipes her tears and nods. So did the whole world. The distant call of a bugle drifts on the wet air, bugle echoing faintly. It isn't part of the ceremony, just another funeral somewhere in the city, but its notes weave into the cadence. Boots and bugle, silence and storm, joined into a single hymn. Cross resumes, boots clicking steady, 21 steps. He pivots, rifle snapping. He halts. The vow lives on. Hale lowers his head, defeated, knowing history has chosen its side. But the guard does not even glance at him. The ritual is not for the living. It is for those who gave everything and remain unnamed. And the narration closes like scripture. They tried to cancel the 21 steps. They tried to measure silence in dollars. But silence does not bow. Silence marches. In the rain-soaked night, under the dome of law itself, a guard's cadence became thunder, a child's salute became memory, and a vow older than politics walked into eternity. If this story reached you, don't let the echo stop here. Share it so others remember that silence is not weakness, but the loudest vow a nation can keep. Subscribe for more untold stories of honor, duty, and sacrifice. Stories that march beyond time itself. And leave your reflection in the comments, because every word you write becomes part of the vow. The 21 steps will never be silenced.